What's up, everybody? Dave Ward here, Beachbody Champions. Look at this, 62,000 people in this group. Isn't that insane? For those of you who don't know who I am and what I'm all about, I told a little bit of it in the post that I had the other day about, what happened in 2008 and how the economy crashed and how my law practice died and how Beachbody really was the thing that saved me and my family from, really financial ruin. Everybody I knew got fired. And some of them went bankrupt, and a lot of people got hurt really, really bad back then. And Beachbody was really there, and that's really when I started to actively be a coach. But technically, I've been a coach since the very beginning. So I've seen a lot of evolution in this business, and I hope that I can bring some insight to it. And one of the things I remember, I was just talking with Chris Ballmer about back in the day when there were like 200 people at Summit, and 150 of them were doing P90X and the other 50 were doing Insanity, and we didn't even have Shakeology. And we have certainly grown leaps and bounds from that time, and now here we are with a single Facebook group that has 62,000 people on it, so that's pretty exciting. And the growth has been a lot of fun to be a part of. It's also been really, really challenging, and I know that a lot of people are experiencing that, and if you're in this business and you're not challenged by it, you're probably not building a team because it's a constant challenge. It's one of the things I really love about the business, actually, is that they're constantly in a state of growth if you want to grow. And that means you growing yourself and then helping your team grow, which is really what I want to focus on today. When I started this business, like I said, I was a lawyer. Practicing law was really about me. Sometimes I would be working with a team, but even then, everybody had their role, and I was probably a part of a team, following some leader. And it was a very different business model than this business model. This business model really is about empowering your people to pass you. And it's a weird thing. Some people can't handle that, by the way. This is a real trap to watch out for. If you start becoming envious of the people on your team because they're doing more than you got a problem, because that is the best thing that can possibly happen to you. When people on your team pass you, that's when it moves away. We say moves away from you. It grows because you have other people doing it beyond you. And that is really, really a key thing. So let's talk a little bit about that. As I started to get into this business, I recognized pretty quickly I was good at marketing. And I understood social media. I didn't know anything about social media. I didn't have a Facebook account back in 2008 when the economy collapsed in September. Thanksgiving, I took some time off and I said, well, let's figure out this Facebook thing. I didn't know Facebook. I didn't have a blog. I didn't have a Twitter. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have any of that stuff. What I did have was a strong desire to build a business that would save my family. I had a big why, if you will. And so I figured out real quick that I could find people, I could make sales, I could help people with their health and fitness journey, and I could convert them into coaches. From there, I really struggled. All right, I really, really struggled because I didn't know how to lead people, and I didn't understand the concept that I just articulated to you, which is that what you really want is for your people to pass you. You can't be oppressing people. You got to lift them up, and you got to celebrate them when they do that. So I was able to find a lot of people, but I wasn't able to necessarily empower them to pass me. So I started to work with a mentor, and that mentor gave me a thing called the game plan. And some of you guys who've been around for a long, long time, sorry, I just finished MMA Shred, by the way, which is why I'm all like shiny. And I'm breathing really fast because my Energize hasn't worn off yet. We had this thing called the game plan. The game plan was 10 separate points that were designed to help us build a business. And that's been condensed over the years. Then it became 6 points. Now it's 4. Now it was the 3 vital behaviors. Now it's the 4 vital behaviors. I really feel like the game plan was where it's at. And after talking to a lot of people, including Jimmy Hayes Nelson, who I'm sure a lot of you guys know Jimmy. Jimmy and I host his leadership event every year. And what we did was we went through and we sort of updated and reorganized the game plan into what we call the playbook. But it is just an updated version of the game plan. And one of those tenets, if you will, is to treat your business like a business. All right, so that's really what I want to touch on today and talk about a little bit. Treating your business like a business. Now, if you owned a business, and some of you probably do, you own business, or maybe you work at a business, and so you get this, right? Like if I had a business, and let's just say I had I don't know, a deli, right? I got a deli, and I have some employees who don't show up for work. Now, what would you do, or what would your boss do if you didn't show up for work at the deli or wherever it is that you work, the insurance sales place or the car repair place? What do you do with people who don't show up for work? If I owned a deli and employees didn't show up, I would fire their ass. I certainly wouldn't be picking up the phone begging them to come into work and going, oh, would you please, please, oh, come into work, please. No, I'd pick up the phone and I go, you know what? You don't show up for work, you're fired. That's treating your business like a business. You have to do the exact same thing here. Okay, there's another little phrase that came a part of that, which is work with the willing. Write this down. Work with the willing. I don't work with people who don't work, period. Now, some of you are saying, well, nobody works on my team. I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. If they don't work on your team, that is your fault. That's your fault. Maybe you told them before they became a coach how easy this is. Is this easy? This is not easy. I don't know. Maybe you think this is easy. I'm going to tell you right now, if you think this is easy, you're probably maybe an emerald, and your two coaches are your spouse and your sister. This is not an easy business. Don't ever let that creep into any sort of thing in your mind. Not easy. This is hard. And if you're telling people that it's super, super easy and anybody can do it before you have them become a coach, they're going to get here and they're going to go, no, this is actually hard because I got to be my own boss. I need to manage my own time. I need to show up when I don't want to show up. When it's dark outside, I need to get my ass out of bed. And I need to stay up until it's still dark outside. You got to get up early and stay up late if you want to build your own business, especially if you're working a full-time job. Okay? It's good to be honest with people about that from the outset. You'll find more people will get in and you will recruit less coaches. That's probably true. But the coaches you will recruit have a tendency to do more because you've been honest with them from the outset. So that, I think, is the first thing. The second thing is working with the willing. When people come in, I do something very, very simple. I tell them, hey, here's the deal. We have this relationship. I'm your coach. I've helped you. I've been there. I'm the guy who's always shaking the pom-poms for you when you have success. And when you fall down flat on your face and eat a pizza and a gallon of ice cream, I'm the guy who picks you up and dusts you off. Because I'm your coach. That never changes. Okay? Our relationship with that health and fitness thing, that doesn't change. We're starting a new relationship now, though, which is separate and distinct from our original relationship. That relationship requires that you show up. We're going to do 4 calls. 4 calls. After the 4th call, I'll decide whether we keep talking or not. And I give them some outline. I give them some parameters. I tell them, look, if we have the same conversation over and over and over again, and that conversation looks like no one can afford Shakeology, or nobody wants to get healthy and fit, you're not willing, so I'm not going to work with you anymore. Okay? But if you follow my instructions and you do the things I tell you to do, which are covered in this playbook thing, things like make a list, send out your invites, that sort of stuff, right? If we can do those things, I'm going to keep working with you. I'll keep working with you because you're willing to move, right? So treating your business like a business, one of the big important pieces of that is working with the willing. So let me tell you what I'm doing with my leaders right now. I'm very, very fortunate to have a strong group of leaders on our team, okay? People who are, for those of you familiar with the leadership ladder, people who are strong team leaders. Like they maybe bounce between organizational leader and team leader. And we've got a bunch of them because we've been doing this a really, really long time. Your organization probably doesn't look like that. Mine didn't always look like that. Back in the day, I had a bunch of strong emeralds, and then I had a bunch of strong diamonds. I'm looking to work with the best of the best. That's who I work with. I happen to have studied myself a lot, and I understand my strengths and weaknesses. One of my strengths is working with people who are already in leadership roles and taking them from here to way up here. Okay, I struggle a little bit with the new people. I'll just freely admit that I don't do well with them, and part of that is because they frustrate me when they don't do what I tell them to do. And I don't like telling people, you've had your 4 calls, you're off. Remember, I'm always going to be your coach. I'll always be helping you with the health and fitness, but on this side of things, we can't work together anymore. Okay, because you're not doing the things I tell you to do. I don't like doing that. I'm a very nice guy. I come across sometimes as being very aggressive, but I'm actually a really nice person. So what I'm doing now is I'm gathering together a group of those strong people. All right, there's about 12 people who have committed at this point, and I really don't want to work with more than that. Again, I think sometimes people have the wrong perception about this business, that what you need is you need 100 team leaders. You really don't. You need a small group of dedicated people. If you can find five people in this business who are real winners and who are people who could or have passed you, you can have tremendous success in this business. I mean, tremendous success, because guess what they do? They go find five people like them. And then those five people go find five people. And along the way, they find a ton of other people who maybe are just discount coaches, or maybe they're just people who make Success Club every month. And then you have an army of people, but you need like 5 really good people. I'm blessed to have more like 20, okay? But that's because I've been here since 2007 and really working it since the end of 2008. I'm gathering those people together, and here's what we do. We do a program that I call a Diamond Mine. So the Diamond Mine program is essentially I get these 10, 12 people together. I don't like to do it with more than 12 because it burns me out. We do a couple of things. First thing is we have a weekly call. That weekly call, the first thing we do, everybody tracks their numbers. And by numbers, I mean how many people did you add to your contact list? How many people did you invite? How many people did you follow up with? How many people said yes? How many Success Club points did you have? And how many coaches did you sign, if you signed coaches? Okay, so once I know that about a person, I know exactly what they're doing. The beginning of the call is just people giving me their numbers. That's it. Very, very simple. No story. I don't you dog eat your homework, any of that nonsense. I just want to know what your numbers were. Because once I look at the numbers, I know what the issue is. If you added 50 people to your contact list and invited 5, well, then I know your problem is you're not inviting the people that you're adding to your list. If you made 50 new contacts and you invited 50 new people and you followed up with 2, your problem is follow-up. And here's the secret sauce. For most people, it's follow-up. That's the number one thing that happens when I do these groups. People start to get super consistent with their follow-ups, and their numbers just go through the roof. Then it's how many people said yes and Success Club points and all that other stuff. But it flows from those 3 things. How many new people on your contact list, how many people did you invite, and how many people did you follow up with? If you have consistent numbers in those 3 areas, the other stuff takes care of itself. It just does. Okay, and I can just tell you that from experience. So that's the first thing we do. Then we have a team call. When I'm working with people who are newer coaches, like back in the day when I would do this with more Emeralds or even with newer Diamonds and people like that, I would do a training call for about a half an hour. And I use this playbook that I'm talking to you about as the sort of outline for what I would talk about on those calls. On this call, since I now have these really strong leaders on our team, I'm going to make them do the training. So that'll be fun. Let's change it up a little bit. Then I have a one-on-one call with these people for 6. We're not going to be able to do consecutive because we have some holidays and I'm traveling. But I have 6 calls, one-on-one, 45 minutes to an hour. I give them some homework before that. The flow of the homework sort of looks like a couple of weeks learning, really talking about how to tell your story. These people are pretty familiar with that, so we're going to breeze through that pretty easy. But how to tell your story, it's just absolutely key. It's one of the pieces of the playbook is learning how to share your story. The way Jimmy talks about it is he talks about, the importance of becoming a devoted fan with an incredible story, boom, right out of the gate. Key to your success here. So I talked to them about how to tell your story, how to share that. Then we move into leadership, and we spend 4 weeks on how to become a better leader. I help them understand who they are, first and foremost. You can't help other people until you've helped yourself. If I don't know who I am, I cannot help you figure out who you are. So we start with them and internally taking on yourself in leadership, and then we transition on how to lead other people. What has happened? I've done this for years. I've done this since like 2010. Yeah, since 2010. Every time, those people become stronger leaders, and a lot of them take the program. And part of my goal, if you're one of the people who's going to be in my Diamond Mine group, what I'm really trying to teach you is how to do it. I want you to go do it with your people. Watch that filter down, okay? I'll just wrap with this. Understand something totally essential to the success or failure of your business. It relies on leadership. This business relies on leadership more than anything else. Corporate can put out bad products, and your team can still grow if you lead. But if you're one of those people who wants to complain about things, your team's not going to grow. Okay? The way I put it to Jimmy, I talked to Jimmy earlier today, and I told him, I said, listen, man, you know me. You tell me the rules to the game, and I'll win. That's it. I'll win. You know why? Because half the people who hear the rules to the game will look at it and complain about the rules. They don't like the rules. I just don't like these rules. These are hard. That's not my thing. My thing is you tell me what the rules are, and I'll go win. I've already eliminated half the competition because they're going to be too busy about complaining about the rules to worry about it. Okay? That's how you got to lead. If you want to be successful in this thing, that's how you've got to lead. Leadership is a lonely, lonely, lonely thing because you don't have anybody to complain to. You give up your right to bitch and moan and whine and complain. Period. Period. What you gain in exchange for that is you gain the right to be a leader. And you gain the right to take people on this incredible journey that we call Team Beachbody. All right, so that's what I'm doing this year to get my people ready. I want to know what you're doing. If you got 2 people who are working this thing, then you got 2 people to work with. Okay? If you've got 20 people, but only 2 are working in it, you work with those 2 people. Don't worry about the other 18 who don't show up for work at the deli. They're fired, okay? And again, you always coach them on the fitness side of things and make sure you preserve that relationship with them because if you don't, they'll leave you because you break their heart when you do that. You can't do that to people, and it's really wrong. But you have another relationship as a mentor, as a coach, as a leader. You need to let them understand that. And those 2 people you got who are working it, that's who you run with. And you run with those 2 people and you help them grow and you help them pass you. And that's what leadership looks like in this business. We are really getting ready for a very exciting time in our business. January is always just sort of naturally busiest time. I'll let you in on a little secret. It's actually after the Super Bowl. But don't wait. Get started in January. There's a bunch of people you'll pick up. A bunch of them will drop off. Super Bowl comes and goes. Boom, especially guys. We like football. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Have a great day. I'm going to go shower.